412-575-2600 on the Borders and Borders hotline. Also taking your tweets at Josh Taylor HD. Want to start with the tweet here, as I can try to open things back up here. Got a tweet we had from James. He says, like the trade, the Pirates never seem to get enough back for anyone. They need to blow up the team and start over with the rebuild. Trade Adam Frazier, Joe Musgrove, Jamison Tyone, and see what they can get, then start over. Looks like another 5-year rebuild at best, or at least. I can't argue with the prognosis of it all. This is something that's not going to be done overnight because it's not like they have a lot of talent to try to restructure around to make this all work. And it's not like they have a lot of guys with trade value that they can move out to get guys back that they can build things around. It's really, really difficult. I'll amend what James said a little bit. Whether it's Adam Frazier, whether it's Joe Musgrove, whether it's Jamison Tyone, just trade a guy who has some trade value. Send a guy out who someone actually wants. Like if you get a phone call and say, hey, are you looking to move this guy? Those are the guys I'd like to see the Pirates move. I think those are the ones that make sense. We also had a tweet from Michael who said, 26 years old is not a prospect. If you're 19, it's a crapshoot. He also said that he feels like the Josh Bell trade is a salary dump. I've never heard of a team trying to dump $500,000 in salary. You don't dump $500,000 in salary. That just doesn't make any sense. 412-575-2600. We got Mike in Ross Township. Mike, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hey, Josh, how you doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
Hey, I heard you talking about there's no trade value for Josh Bell, and you said like McCutchen, like Cole. Look what they turned into. 2020 that's an unusual year. I mean, 2019 he had a pretty good year. I think they could have given him a little more time. They're not paying him that much money. They say they're not, starting over from scratch, but that's what it looks like for me. They're getting rid of the best players they have.
Well, honestly, thanks for the call. Josh Bell was not one of the best guys they had last year. This is the point that I'm making. Josh Bell was actually one of the worst guys they had in 2020. Now, you have a good point. Did they take enough time to see what they had? I talked about that earlier. I would have liked to see them wait a couple months, maybe May, June, closer to the deadline, see if they can get something back for him. That makes sense to me. But the only other alternative that would make sense, after he had that monster 2019 season, you move him after that monster 2019 season because somebody else is going to see him at 37 home runs and driving 119, and they're going to say, we want that guy. You know who they're not going to want? A guy who struck out 59 times in 200-plus plate appearances and had a WAR of negative .4. They're not going to want that guy. And if they do want that guy, they're not going to pay a lot for him. That's the difference. And as I talk about McCutchen and Walker and Cole, they all got traded after bad seasons. If they get traded after good years, when their value is higher, when teams are willing to pay more for them, you probably see more in return. I'm still kind of shocked in retrospect that the Pirates got 4 guys back for Garrett Cole. They may be 4 guys that most people didn't like. I'm still stunned they got 4 bodies back. But that's what we're talking about when you're trading guys when their trade value is low and you're not going to get return. So why are we surprised when you're trading guys after they haven't done anything and they're not attractive numbers-wise? You really expect to get anything back? It's like trading a bag of Doritos when you're a kid at lunch for a rotten apple. You're not going to expect the same thing. Got Gary in Johnstown. Gary, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hi, Josh, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Gary.
I wanted to, if you remember, like back in August, you guys thought, and I agreed that
who's you guys?
Steelers would. What's that?
Who's you guys?
Well, the media.
We don't all think the same thing, Gary. Just get to your point. We don't all say the same thing, but just get to your point.
Right. I was just going to say that they thought the Steelers would come out of the gates running, being they were a veteran group with, they didn't need OTAs and training camp.
Well, the team said that themselves,
Maybe
too.
that explains the late season slide that they're having now. Maybe things are catching up to them.
I think the things that are catching up to them are the mistakes that they kept making even while they were winning games. I think that's what's catching up to them. What's catching up to them specifically is that they've averaged 15 points in the last 4 games. I talked about this during the Sportscast. They averaged almost 30 the first 10 games of the season. And then the last 4, they averaged half that. That's what's catching up to them. They stopped scoring. That's the problem. They did start the season strong. The first 10 games of the season, they scored almost 30 points a game. Remember when Todd Haley was talking about this team could be a 30-point-per-game offense? That was actually a thing for this team for 10 games. And then the next 4, they cut that in half. That's what caught up to them. We got to take another break. Actually, you know what? Before we get to that break, let's go to our Tri-State Furniture tweet of the night. It comes from Jamison Tyone. He said, sad to see Josh Bell go. We grew up through the system together, and it's been fun watching him turn into a true major leaguer on and off the field. I'll be rooting for you for life, brother. It's been real suiting up with you, and it's no secret that some of these guys had great relationships, Jamison Tyone, Josh Bell. These guys were considered the ones that were going to hopefully turn this franchise fortunes. They came in around the same time. And, yeah, seeing those guys split up after all those years being together, I want to say it's 9 or 10 years in the same system. It is something that's hard for these guys to get adjusted to. We got to take a break. We will wrap up when we come back. See you in a few minutes.